Hello, my name is Stephanie Green. I'm the editor and publisher of Soleil's To-Dos, Chicago's calendar of cultural events. And I'm happy to have here with me today Tamberla Perry in my first interview. Tamberla, thank you for being here with us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. And I'll start off with saying that despite the fact that Tamberla hasn't had an extensive academic training in theater, she's really jumped out with some prime roles. Victory Gardens, In the Next Room, the Vibrator play, Eclipsed with Northlight, Brother Sister plays at Steppenwolf, and she's also a member of Impact. And you were named one of Chicago's 50 most beautiful people last year.
Yes.
So we can't leave that one out. So I understand also that you started in executive recruiting and you sort of abandoned that to go into acting.
I did. Well, okay, so I graduated school. The idea was to go to physical therapy school. And upon graduating, I said, oh, well, I need to make some money to pay these student loans and pay various bills that I had. I got a job as an executive recruiter.
Okay.
In the meantime, while going to work during the day, I was taking my biology classes at night, doing my physical therapy hours, because the plan was to get a doctorate in physical therapy.
Okay.
And then at some point, 2 or 3 years later down the line in executive recruiting, I decided, I don't think I want to go back to school for another, set of years to get this degree. So let me Google. Well, it wasn't Google at the time because Google didn't exist.
Okay.
Let me do a search on Yahoo or whatever site I could do a search on for acting jobs in Chicago. And
so this was something that was always lingering.
Yeah, it was always lying dormant. I in college I did like pageantry. Like I did like I'm an AKA, so I did an alpha ball 1 year, and my talent was. I think I performed monologues and did like a Tina Turner. I was always interested in that stuff. Right. And 1 year when I told my mother, I said, oh, I think I want to take some acting classes. And I went to school in New York. I went to school at University of Rochester, New York. My mom said, oh, you that's what you want to do? You want to spend money on acting? Come to Chicago, live at home, and go to Columbia or DePaul. And I said, oh, I'm just playing. I'm just playing, because I love New York. I don't want to come home from New York. And so I snuck and took an acting class my senior year because I needed credits to graduate. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But again, never thought about it as a career. But then the year that I decided that I wasn't as interested in going to physical therapy school, and I worked as an athletic trainer in all 4 years in college. Like I knew this is what I was about to do, but then something, and I still love the anatomy. And if somebody has something going on with a knee or a bone or something, I still know a lot about it. And I'm still able to diagnose. I'm still able to diagnose, some things that are going on. So I decided I didn't want to go to school for that anymore. And let me approach something else that I know that I enjoy doing, slightly for fun, for classes. And then it kind of evolved into a full-time career. And it's been full-time, on and popping for about almost 5 or 6 years now, full-time.
And so now you find yourself, I believe this is your first time at the Goodman.
It's my first time at the Goodman.
And first time working with Chuck Smith.
First time working with Chuck Smith as a director-actor, but he's a resident director of my theater company that I'm a member of, Impact. So I see him on the administration level all the time.
I see.
So I'm in the room when he's casting, I'm in the room when he's directing, or I have been at least, but as an actor-director relationship, it's the first time.
So this has got to be a pretty exciting role for you. I mean, it seems pretty major, both the subject matter and also Geoffrey Owens is in
Jeffrey,
thank you, from used to be most well known for being in the Cosby Show.
Elvin from the Cosby Show. Yeah.
So how has it been working with this combination of actors?
Well, there's Mark Grapey, who is a Chicago kingpin. Patrick Clear, who is even more of a Chicago. I think this is his 16th show at the Goodman. I think this is Mark's 5th or 6th show here, maybe 4th, 5th, 6th. And then of course you have legendary Jeffrey Owens from the Cosby Show. A show that was a hit, and everybody who sees him knows it's like we did community service the other day, and I saw the kids whispering, "Is that the dude from Cosby Show?" But it's been fantastic to be on the stage with such seasoned guys. I mean, they only make you work harder. That's what it is. And the Goodman don't play. I mean, if you've seen shows here, the work that they do, you know, the actors that they cast.
Right.
It's a hard place to it's a hard place to work, and it's a you know, it's a huge achievement for me to be able to you know, work here, work at Steppenwolf, work at some Looking Glass. Looking Glass is one of my favorite theaters to work at.
Was that Phaedra?
I did Phaedra there.
Right.
I did Black Diamond there. And my husband is a company member of Looking Glass. And if you get a chance, go see Mr. Ricky Calls a Meeting at Looking Glass.
Shameless
right now.
plug, nothing
Shameless
wrong
plug.
with it. And actually, I had someone go see it this weekend to do a review for me, so I'm looking forward to hearing about
they're going to
that.
love it. My husband's in that, and the girl who directed and wrote Phaedra, no, she wrote and starred in Phaedra, directed Mr. Ricky's.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Can you give us a little bit of a sort of summary of what Race is about?
The play.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 3 lawyers, and there's one accused, a white man, accused of raping an African American woman in a hotel room. And these 3 lawyers are trying to just basically figure out if he did it or not. Now, the 2 men, which is Jeffrey Owens and Mark Grapey, they are the lawyers who've been established for 20 years with this firm. It's called Lawson and Brown.
Okay.
They're Jack Lawson and Henry Brown. I have just joined the firm about 6 months to a year ago. Recently, I want to say out of school, maybe 2 years or so new to the firm, but they saw something in me that they were like, this girl is on it. Let's bring her in as a junior partner, and maybe we can bump her up at some point. But that's basically what the show is about, is really trying to figure out if this man, A, committed this crime, is because it's a sex crime, racially, how does this inform, you know, whether he did it or not?
Now,
and so that's what's going on.
I've heard that Susan is kind of a mixture of a plot and a character. And it seems in this character setting with high-powered attorneys, and here you are, a new, young, black female attorney, that you're in a position where you could be sort of easily manipulated, but it also seems, from what I've read, that you may do a little bit of manipulation yourself. So I'm wondering, how did you prepare to portray this character, to give her voice in these circumstances of this sort of male-dominated environment?
Sure. One of the things I did, I have a sorority sister, a couple of sorority sisters. I'm an AA, who are attorneys in the same position as Susan in New York City. At big firms, I mean, they've probably been out and in it for a good 5 or 6 years, so just a little bit more than her, but they're around her age. So I really went to them in terms of researching this role and researching the dynamic of where they work, because they work around predominantly white men, and they're not paralegals, they're lawyers, you know, trying to go, you know, at bat for the accused or against the accused, just like these men are. Now, Susan, I don't want to say she's manipulated. I want to say that she's definitely an observer, and she listens. She spends a lot of this play listening to the ideas of these men, racially, sexually. Once you see the play, you'll see there's a little bit of sexism going on. And I don't know if you've read it or not.
I have not.
Okay, but there's definitely some sexism going on. But she really takes the time to think about and strategize what she's going to say, and she doesn't let what people are saying inform, you know, her opinion about things.
And have you experienced anything similar? I'm wondering if your background with executive recruiting or as an actress, if any of that experience has informed how you portray Susan.
Absolutely. Like I said, I worked in corporate America, you know, at big executive, like one of them is one of the top 10 executive recruiting firms, and another, I was also a regional recruiter at one of the top retail companies for years, and the recruiting firm was a male-dominated industry. So there were plenty of times, and I was doing a lot of the diversity recruiting, but there were a lot of times when I had to listen and observe and kind of hold my tongue, as does Susan in this play, about what she's really feeling about these issues. And then there's a moment of, you may call it vindication, victory, or whatever, where she gets to say what's on her mind, and they're left really thinking about, you know, the things that they've said in the play. I don't want to have a spoiler.
Okay,
but,
thank you.
Yeah, but there's definitely some of that was able to be transitioned into this role.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so the playwright David Mamet is white, and he's quoted by the Village Voice as saying, "I do not think that people are basically good at heart." and in circumstances of stress, people can behave like swine. So I'm wondering how you think he did with this play in terms of the dialogue and the issues that he raised. Has he done a good job of bringing those up?
You know, I disagree with the statement. There's been a whole lot of dialogue about that statement. I do think that he did a good job of giving his views of people in this play.
Okay.
I mean, it's him. He wrote it. It's his perspective, and if that's what you believe about people on a general basis, you did a damn good job at it. I don't know, can I say that?
Absolutely.
Okay. You did an excellent job at it. And I think that in times of stress and in times of heightened situations, people will exploit, whatever they can exploit to get through. I do believe that, but at heart, I don't think that people are bad people. I don't.
So last night there was a discussion with Chuck Smith and a few other people on the panel talking about the artist's role in advancing dialogue about race. How do you believe that an artist should fill that role of advancing that sort of discussion?
This is a hard play. It's a hard play. And I think throughout the rehearsal process, we had open, comfortable dialogue about the subject matter. How do I think an artist can advance that dialogue? What I hope that this play does, and what I heard last night, I didn't go to the talk back about with the play, but what I heard was that it did raise some very interesting comments from people of all cultures, class, about the play and about entitlement and about perspective on race and David Mamet's perspective of black people, of white people, of women. And I heard that it was a very open dialogue about it. So what I hope the play does is encourage that. And there's definitely going to be moments of uncomfortability. People are not going to know whether they should laugh, look at the next person around them. But I hope on their ride home they feel comfortable enough to have that conversation with their partner. About the subject matter. It's a hard subject matter.
Are there talkbacks following the performances?
Legally, David Mamet has asked that after the show there are no post-show discussions, so we do not have those. What we have is conversations with the characters.
Okay.
So no, it's not there. They aren't. Yeah. So legally, we aren't allowed to have post-show discussions. But in another room, in the theater, not in the theater that we perform in, you may have a conversation about the play with the characters of the play. But there are no post-show discussions.
So note to self, bring a group, there's spaces in the Goodman, some seating and stuff that you can take advantage of if you want to have your own post-show discussion.
Yes.
So we have a comprehensive listing of culturally diverse theater. On our website, and we have people that sort of run the gamut from sort of new theater goers to people who are avid patrons of theater. How approachable do you think that this play is? Like, is it a type of play where you should read some cliff notes first, and is it something you can just jump in and easily digest?
Stephanie, that's a good question, and I really don't know. I think that I had a friend come last night who left at intermission. The reason she said she left at intermission was because her date had to go to work in the morning. Well, the second act is 20 minutes. So I think part of that was and she texted me and said, it was very interesting,
Can't wait.
Yeah. And the first act of this play, the whole play is a very interesting dialogue. And again, it's one of those shows that there are no hold bars. David Mamet is a no hold, and if you've ever seen any of his work, you know that it is language. It's no hold bars. So it's going to make some people uncomfortable. It's going to make some people mad.
Which is sometimes, those are growing pains.
Yes.
So that can be a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm really curious. We've only had, this is only our 5th show, so I really haven't had the feedback. It hasn't really gotten going. Right now, it's been a lot of people who love me, who love my work. Oh, girl, you were good. So, but I haven't really had a whole lot of open dialogue in terms of what people are really feeling about the subject matter. Again, thematically, the play is called Race, so it's about race, but there are themes of sexism, racism, culture, class, and all of that. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what the public is feeling about it.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to it. Race opens on January 23rd,
Yes.
and it continues through February 19th. And there are also some events that are associated with the performance, so be sure to check our website for details about some of those events. Tamberla, thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. It's been really great talking to you.
Yes,
I'm so
thank
looking
you.
forward to the opening.
Yeah, good.
And you all be sure to check us out on www.so-laze.com. We do have a comprehensive listing of theater events and also culturally diverse events taking place around the city, so be sure to stop on by. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Tamberla.
Thank you.